I'm going to explain to you guys why the adventure bike segment of the market is the fastest growing segment in motorcycle industry and why it might be saving the industry. Cue the intro. So here we have a 2015 BMW F800GS, awesome bike. But the way they come from stock, it's a pretty transformable bike. It can do it's great for the road. It's mediocre for the dirt. This bike has pretty much only ever seen highway. Come over here. This is a 2011 F800GS, and the way this thing is set up, it's just pretty much all dirt. That's one of the cool things about the adventure bikes and about the F800GS is because it does a lot of things very well, but then if you want to do something more, you kind of set it up for that. This is set up for pretty heavy dirt. You see it's got pretty intense dirt tires. It's got really rugged hard bag mounts. It's got big old crash bars. You got your heavy duty underbody skid plate down here. You got your bark busters, you got your windscreen, you got your trail light cover to stop brushes and everything from breaking your lights. This thing's set up for off-road. Now, if you ever wondered why this is the F800GS and not the R800GS like its big brother, the R1200GS, is because this does not have the R motor. It's not have the horizontal twin boxer engine. This is actually a inline twin producing 85 horsepower and 65 foot-pounds of torque, which is actually pretty impressive. This bike is equipped with a 6-speed gearbox and it's chain drive, unlike its older brother that's set up with a final drive because it's shaft drive. This is gonna be a little more maintenance, but you're not gonna have any huge issues at higher miles of, would really be expensive, the final drive, because after about 100,000 miles, the final drive gets kind of expensive to fix. You also notice that instead of the fuel tank being right here, it's not the fuel tank. The fuel tank is actually under the seat, which brings the center of gravity a little bit lower, and then it leaves them room to put the airbox up top and also all the electronics to have them higher up for, going through deep water. So let's try to talk about why adventure bike riding is so popular, and it's become even more popular. What I think it is because people are realizing how comfortable this seating position is. I mean, this is the most comfortable seating position. Now this has handlebar riser, so it will be down here, but it's up here. But I mean, I could ride this position for days. It puts all my weight on my butt or on my pegs, no extra stress on my arms or on my back. Another reason why I think adventure bike riding is so good is because the range of riding that you can do. It's like why people buy Jeeps or why people buy SUVs, more so Jeeps. Why people think they buy Jeeps is because I'm gonna go off-roading with it, I can do all these things. They never do any of those things, but they have the possibility of doing it. Same thing with these motorcycles. They do so many things extremely well. They can go off-road. They can do highways. You can get to the off-road destinations really easily and really comfortably. And they're light, they can go around the city. They just do a lot of things really well. They also handle great too. Now, when it comes to the adventure bikes, the big bad king of the hill is always gonna be the BMW R1200GS or the R1250GS or the GSA. But for most people, this actually might be a better bike, mainly because of how light it is. One, it's a whole lot cheaper, probably about half the cost when it comes to use, but also it's about 100 pounds lighter than the GSA. Now, the first thing I saw, or that I noticed when I jumped on a GSA or a GS1200 was how massive it was. You see these videos of these guys going off-road and doing logs and all these crazy things, and I'm like, okay, it's like a dirt bike. They're big bikes. They really are big bikes, and if you're probably shorter than 5'5", you might not be able to even sit on one. But these bikes are about 100 pounds lighter, and you feel a whole lot more maneuverable. You also save a lot of money buying the cheaper one. Let's take it for a spin. All right, guys, before the test drive, let's do the words of wisdom. 3 John 1:11. Beloved, do not imitate what is evil, but what is good. The one who does good is of God. The one who does evil has not seen God. Amen. Let's ride this beast of a bike. I really do enjoy riding these things. That's not a thing. All right. Now you notice the ABS light will flash on. Every guy that test drives one of these bikes for the first time, or any bike with ABS, like the ABS light's on. I'm like, yeah, it goes off once you start moving. I don't know why. I guess it's some type of regulation that if you have ABS, to show that your ABS is working, that you have to, have it flash on. Caleb's been riding this bike. The front tire feels low in tire pressure. Feels a little sluggish in the corners. So when you read about this, some people throw around the word enduro. And I've always looked at enduro as much more similar to a dirt bike. You know, like a DRZ 400E or L. No, DR 400E, or a you know, the XR 650L. You know what I mean? That's an enduro. It's a dirt bike that you can ride on the street. A bike like this, if you could put this in the enduro class, this is the greatest enduro ever in the history of the universe. It's like, you know, it's like putting like a Ferrari in the class of like a sports car. You know what I mean? It's not a sports car, it's a supercar. It would crush a sports car. So this is much more than an enduro. This is an adventure bike. And it's got a wide range of awesome things. And when it comes to adventure bikes, it's pretty tacked out. You know what I mean? You got your ABS, which you can turn on and turn off, which is awesome. That you actually have that functionality that you can change it. You got heated grips, which are huge when you're riding in the cold. You got a little info button that you can change. You can see, what is that telling me? 36? 36 what? Okay, 49 miles to empty maybe. That's maybe constant. Let's see, we're getting 55 miles to the gallon right now. That's amazing. Temperature of outside, and then back to 36, whatever that is. The handlebars are bent a little bit on the, all you gotta do is just get next to a tree and crack that back a little bit. There's little rubber bushings in there that get twisted if you drop the bike in a goofy way. So with proper tire pressure, this feels real sluggish. These things actually handle very well, and so do the GS 1200s. I love riding them. They're great cruising bikes on the highway, and this thing's really set. Even with like medium, like decent dirt tires, you can get them pretty low. They handle very well. They stick. They're sticky tires. They don't last long. They're not going to last very long at all, but they're definitely going to be sticky, and you're going to be able to, you know, take turns a whole lot quicker than what you think that you will. Now obviously this is not as fast as the 1200 or the 12. I've not ridden a 1250 yet. I've ridden 1150s and I've ridden the 1200s, but it's enough. I mean, it's definitely enough. This aftermarket GPS that's on here is almost impossible to see. All right, let's go do 0 to 60. See what we can get. I'm thinking we can get this thing less than 5 for sure. With 85 horsepower, definitely. And I bet it'll do. I bet it'll get to 60 within second gear. Maybe I might have to shift around third. Let's see what happens. Right there. Let's see how this thing feels on the highway. This riding position is just incredibly comfortable. It would be nice if you could somehow like stick your feet up on the, there, maybe right there. That's ain't bad. Because when you're on a long trip, I mean, anything to move your feet from where you're at is just nice. That right there is perfect though. Stretch out your legs a little bit. This thing has no problems cruising at highway speeds. If you gotta pass somebody, just crack that throttle. And if you wake up early and it's a little cool outside, you put on those heated grips, man. You don't understand how heated grips legitimately warms your soul. Now, even though these are pretty aggressive dirt tires, it feels great on the highway. This windshield's blocking all the wind from hitting me, which I don't like. I like wind hitting me. It's hot. Another awesome thing about these bikes is they're made, you know, because you're sitting inside the bike. You're really inside the bike. Where the pegs are, you can just stand straight up on this bike. I'm standing straight up, my knees are locked. I'm getting all that wind right in my face, right in my chest. It's cooling me down. I feel like I'm driving a extremely powerful Segway on the highway. But this is made like this for when you're doing, you know, you're on the dirt and you're absorbing a lot of the bumps. But you could just ride the bike like this. Man, it's comfortable. You can't do this with any other bike. You can't do this with a Harley Davidson. The pegs are so far forward, or you're bent over so much. Only adventure bikes can you ride it like this, and it is fun. Alright guys, that wraps up the video. Don't forget to check out Srkcycles.com to see what we got for sale. And if you guys are wondering where I got these awesome motorcycle gloves from, these are our brand. These are M1 Moto. These are the M1 Moto gloves. Last time when I was test driving the M109, I called these the M109 gloves. They're not. They're the M1 Moto gloves, and you can buy them. This is one of the only gloves that's lined with Kevlar. Incredibly tough. You can buy them on the website. Look in the link below at bikesandbeardsgear.com. Remember guys, it is not what you're riding, but where you're going. And if you guys have not checked out the Bikes and Beards channel, you got to check out our Bikes and Beards channel. A lot of fun stuff going on. We sold a motorcycle to a guy. We sold a 2017 Kawasaki Concourse to a guy who was 81 years old. It used to be his bike like 6 months ago. Dude rides like a monster. He's awesome, super cool guy. Check out that video. It'll blow your mind away how awesome you can be when you're 81 years old. Alright guys, that wraps it up. We'll see you later. Remember, it's not what you're riding, but where you going.